Hi everybody. Just wanted to take a moment and pop in here and share a little something with you that I've been dealing with over the last month, 5 weeks, and I thought that it would be something that could help probably other people as well. And I wanted to, it's been really heavy on my heart. It's been coming up a lot lately, which I have learned is that means I need to be speaking out about it because there's probably a lot of other people that are dealing with it as well. And that is courage. The courage to continue. The courage to continue when life throws you a curveball, when life happens, and life happens to us all. When your life is going smooth and everything's going along just fine, and you're starting to feel like you're getting the rhythm and you're in the flow, and then all of a sudden life takes a left. And usually it doesn't even turn on its blinker. So, and it just throws you a big old fat challenge, and usually something that just kind of stops us in our tracks. And this did happen to me. It's been about a month, 5 weeks or so ago now. And so I wanted to show you how, or talk to you about how I got through it and how it might help you in the future to get through that as well. And for me personally, this came in the form of a fibromyalgia flare-up. I don't know how many of you know that I have fibromyalgia or even what it is. It's a mouthful. And it's the easiest way to break it down is it is a condition that causes us pain. They think it's caused by overactive nerves. For me personally, this is a lot of pain in my muscles. And so I end up with really bad muscle spasms. They'll last anywhere from a few hours to a few days to a few weeks, all depending on how bad the flare-up is at the time. So, and I've had it for a lot of years. Better than 20 years I've had this, that I've lived with it. So these are nothing new. But my reaction to them, also, while not new, I have learned better ways to function through them and to come out on the other side better for it and to move forward towards my goals and dreams and aspirations better for it, which is my hope for all of you, is that you can take a little something from this that'll help you get back on the path of moving forward, to continue, the courage, helping you find the courage to continue. And so for me, what happened was I had a flare-up. It was a pretty bad one. I had been lucky for a long time and I hadn't had a bad one in a while. And on top of that, I had some news from a friend that was very emotionally draining. So you add those two together. When I have this pain, I have a cycle that I go into. When I'm in a lot of pain, there are certain limitations that I have. I can't do as much physically, and psychologically that plays havoc with me personally because I start to feel like I'm not there for people the way that I want to be there, which causes me to feel guilt. And then that guilt causes me to feel depression. I start to feel stress. And then it cycles back around. Stress, depression, the guilt actually causes me more pain. Stress is one of the biggest triggers for fibromyalgia. And so I go from the pain all the way through the cycle right back to actually adding more pain. I cycle through this when I let myself. I cycle through this and it then becomes a perpetual cycle until it causes me to tend to shut down. And what I would do in the past is it would shut me down. I would numb as much of myself emotionally as I could, trying to numb out any of the extra feelings so that I could try to break that cycle. And you go into a mind fog, and then I would give up whatever I was working on. And I would then try to tell myself that it was some sort of a sign, that it was more than I could handle, that it wasn't meant for me, that whatever path I was following, that whatever dream I was following wasn't where I was supposed to be going. And I would use that to stay small. I would use that to not push myself. I would use that to try to feel safe. And what I've learned over the past and developed over the past probably year is that instead I need to, in order to break that cycle, I need to reach in and grab that courage to continue, the courage to step forward instead of bringing myself back and allowing myself to feel smaller and let my monkey mind tell me that I'm safer if I stayed the same. Because staying the same clearly wasn't working because I was still in that mind fog. So that wasn't going to work for me anymore. And there were bigger things that I wanted, and there were bigger goals that I wanted. So what can you do when you feel yourself starting to shut down, starting to let your monkey mind tell you that maybe you need to not move forward? Maybe it's like me and it's physical and you caught yourself in a cycle. Maybe it's because you've come to a place where you need to move forward and you're not really sure how to move forward, and so you let your cycle begin there and you let all of the reasons and excuses and monkey mind. Mine's a monkey mind. That's what I call my monkey mind. All of the inner stories that I sell myself that aren't actually true. That's what I call my monkey mind. So how do you move past that? I have found that there's a three-step process that I can use that allows me to honor what I'm going through, because you shouldn't try to suppress that. It is. Life happens. And as soon as you suppress that, that's a whole nother story we can go into. But we don't want to do that. So you want to honor that. You want to feel what you're feeling. And you want to take that place and you want to ask yourself some questions. There's 3 questions that I ask myself. And by asking these questions, so before we get into the questions, I just want to point out that by asking these questions and moving through and doing these steps, we're not immediately changing the situation. We don't actually have control of most situations. I mean, they're tossed in our life. They are what they are. That's why we want to acknowledge them. We want to acknowledge our feelings about them. But it's our attitude toward the situation that we can change. And that attitude is the key. The attitude is what will slowly change the situation, because it will allow you the strength and the courage to take those steps toward changing the situation or getting through the situation so you can get out on the other side. So the first thing I ask myself is, what is the truth about what I'm experiencing? Now, for instance, with my fibromyalgia, the flare-ups are real. As much as I have a monkey mind, they're real. So I sit back and I say, okay, what is the truth of this? The truth is that, yes, I am in pain. But the reason that I ask myself this is because there are other things that I may be making into a challenge that really aren't. There may be a step that I need to take in my business to move forward, and I'm afraid of it. And so I make challenges in my way. I put hurdles in my way by my perceptions. So that's my monkey mind, making a perceived situation where it doesn't actually exist. So I always like to start by examining and finding out, okay, is this truly a situation? Is it truly a challenge? Because then we know how to move forward. The next is, what is the blessing or lesson that I need to learn? Even the ones that I've created that challenge, there is always a blessing and there is always a lesson. That is another one that I'll do another blog on about in a lot more depth, but I do want to at least stay here. Every lesson and every challenge has a blessing. My fibromyalgia has a blessing, and I will actually go through how I answered these 3 questions. So everything has a blessing. and everything has a lesson. So when we break it down a little bit farther and we find what the blessing or the lesson is, then the third question is more easily answered. How can I bring light or love to this situation? Because that's what's going to get me through. So, how a lot of times the lesson and the blessing is what you use to move through and to bring that light and love. So, like I said, I ask myself the questions of this. What is the truth of my challenge? The truth was that I did have a flare-up. I was not manifesting a hurdle. It was an actual hurdle, so I knew that I was dealing with an actual situation and not my monkey mind. So then I move on to what would be my blessing or my lesson. I have many blessings that come from having fibromyalgia, and a lot of people don't understand that, but it is integral to me. I have a disease, a condition that can be debilitating. It can be disabling, but it is not something that's going to kill me. That is a huge blessing. The biggest blessing I got from this, though, is that I learned to listen to my body. I learned to appreciate people in pain. I learned to appreciate what it takes to take care of my body. And I learned that I am a lot stronger than I ever thought I was. When I was listening to the doctor tell me all of the things that I wasn't going to be able to do in my life when I was 29 years old, I learned that he was wrong, and I was going to show him that I was still going to live life on my terms. I found a strength in me that I never would have found had I not had that diagnosis. And then it brings us to the light and love. I am able to bring light and love to people because of that diagnosis. I'm able to share with other people what I've done to get better, to get through, to improve my life, to improve living with fibromyalgia. I have gained a much better compassion with and for people that live with conditions and live with limitations. It has given me an understanding and a compassion that I wouldn't have had any other way. So it is, when you find these things, it actually builds your courage to take that next step. It allowed me to come out of that cycle within a couple of days instead of the weeks. It gave me the courage to take each baby step to bring myself out and to move forward towards my dreams and goals. And that is my deepest wish for you. I know you have it in you, and I know you have the courage to continue. And my blessing for you is to reach for that light that is already within you and shine that brightness on your inner strength. And I can't wait to see you on this path along with me. Have a fabulous, fabulous day.